Hello lovelies, and welcome to today's video. So today is an art journal page for the Show Us Your Media challenge by Dina Wakley, and I always like to do this challenge in my Dina Wakley media journal. Now if you don't know about these journals, it's the Dina Wakley journal, and it's got 4 different substrates in it. So it has cotton rag, watercolor paper. This has got craft cardstock, burlap, and canvas. The new blue version has denim, which is going to be a lot of fun to play with. But I like to create in this one because I like the challenge. Now don't get me wrong, it is a challenge. It is. Even the cotton rag paper, it's really different to what I'm used to. I usually create in a Dilutions mixed media journal. This is something entirely different. So I find a lot of my pages that I do in here are very different to anything else I create. Very hit and miss. Sometimes I love them, other times I don't. This is sort of a mix between the two. I have created pages on the burlap that I was in love with, and I was trying to use a similar formula to see if I could create something I loved. I'm not sure about this one. It had promise. So with the new Dina Wakley gloss sprays, paint sprays out, I thought, I've seen a lot of people use them on the burlap. I thought maybe I'll try my Dilutions. They're very translucent. I think this would work so much better with the new Dina Wakley spray paint, and I cannot wait to get some and give it a try because they would be much more opaque. Now, the Dilutions did work to tint the burlap, so, I couldn't hate it, but I would really love to try this with the new Dina Wakley sprays in the future. So then I'm using some of my Dina Wakley stamps, and I'm using my scribble sticks. Now, I love my scribble sticks. They are one of my favourite mixed media products to use, and I love to use them by spraying some water on my stamp and then colouring the scribble stick over my stamp to activate the paint onto my stamp. When you add a bit of water to this, it gives you a nice little watercolor effect. I really love it. There's so many different ways you can do it, and it worked on the burlap really well. I was really surprised. I tried to stamp this image on the burlap straight. Didn't quite give me what I was looking for, so I then stamped it onto some paper. Yes, I use copy paper, good old plain printer paper. I don't tend to use cardstock. And I've got that there. Then I thought I would add some white ink just to try and highlight some areas. Turns out my white ink has gone a little gluggy, so it didn't quite work as well as I'd hoped. And then I get the bright idea to spritz with some water to try and get it to just spread out a little bit. And it gives me some highlighted areas, but it wasn't what I was expecting. But still, I'm still going with it. It definitely highlights some of those areas. The only thing I wasn't too keen on is in the middle, just above my stamped image there, I've got this big dark splodge happening. That's where I'm going to add my journaling because I think that sort of covers it up a bit. So I've got my fan brush and I've added some splatters of the white ink, and I think it definitely helps to lighten up some of the areas. I'm adding some more stamping with that same Dina Wakley stamp and my scribble sticks, and I'm just making that area darker. That is probably the one part of this page that I'm not a fan of, just that one little dark section there. So that is, like I said, where I'm going to add my journaling to try and lighten it up a little bit. So this month's prompt was be grateful for nature. So the Show Us Your Media challenge for this year is to create a grateful journal. Obviously you don't have to do the whole grateful journal, but the prompts are based around being grateful. And this one was I am grateful for nature. So first thing that occurred, like I love the stars. Stars are my thing, but I wasn't sure that would. Obviously the prompts are completely open to interpretation, but yeah, in the end I love these scribbled bird stamps, so I thought this would work quite well. I did another page after this, inspired by some waves. I might show you that one later. That one I don't like as much as this one. I tried that one on the canvas, but I'll show you that one next time. But yeah, so I'm going with the birds, and then I'm adding my little scribbly bird to the top of my circle highlighted area here, so it's sort of like a focal point. I have used staples to adhere the circle down. My glue I found was a bit hit and miss. The glue worked really well to hold the bird down, but then when I go to add my journaling, it doesn't work so well. So I did want to add one of the Tim Holtz small talk stickers as well, and then the whole point of the Show Us Your Media challenge is to put the me back in art journaling. So that made sense, isn't it? Put the me back in media is the whole point behind it. So to put yourself back in your art journaling, and especially journaling back in your art journaling. And yeah, specifically the prompts are, you need to add some journaling to your pages. And I found this one difficult because I'm not really a big, nature doesn't really inspire me like it does other people. Like, don't get me wrong, the stars and, the ocean. But yeah, nature was a struggle for me. But then I looked at this bird, and I love this bird. I've always wanted to get a little bird tattoo, 2 little birds on my wrist or on my hand, somewhere very small, to represent me and my mum. So I thought, okay, that works. So now I'm trying to add my journaling, and I'm trying to find something that works on the burlap. Not working, because I didn't want my journaling to be noticeable. I didn't want it to be able to be read if I was going to get real personal with it. So in the end, I decided to go a little more abstract with my journaling and put it on some strips of paper, so that way you can read my journaling. But because I've made it a bit more abstract and a bit more subtle, it's not as in-depth and personal as what I probably would have done if I had have done my scribble journaling. So like I do in my scrapbooking, I've just cut some strips of paper. I probably should have used cardstock, but what I had on hand was paper, so I used that. And I'm just cutting up some strips, and then I'm going to journal on those. Now I'm just basically journaling about, stop and look at the birds, stop and watch the birds, look at the flowers, watch the waves, things like that, and just stop and breathe and just look. So that was what my journaling, how I interpreted the prompt. Be grateful to be able to just stop and look around at nature, basically. So that was how I interpreted the prompt. Like I said, because I couldn't hide my journaling into my background, I made it a lot more abstract. And yeah, now I'm going to adhere it straight to my page. I'm trying to use these strips to, brighten up that dark section that I'm not too fond of. Glue, hit and miss, but it does in the end adhere down. And honestly, I don't mind this page at all. I really like it. It was completely different to what I started out to create, but I really do like it. There's some certain sections of it I love more than others, but in the end, yeah, I don't mind it. So I hope you have enjoyed the video. I hope you've taken from this, get creative on some, get out of your comfort zone. Like in my case, I'm creating on the burlap. This journal intimidates me a lot, but I still like to give it a go. So hopefully you will step out of your comfort zone and give something tricky a go too. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back real soon. Bye for now.